Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning. How you doing? Good. I noticed today you were so obedient because when I'm in my office and the door is closed, it's like the door is open. So just so you know, I can hear everything you're saying out in the front room. And there was just so much chatter going on. I was just smiling to just hear all the energy. And then ding, and it just got completely silent. And off you moved into the sanctuary, so thank you for that. For those of you watching online today, welcome. I'm Kity Benson. I'm the minister here at Unity in Naperville, and look, half our band is new today. Give them thanks. Gratitude to Jen and to Enoch for filling in for Mark and Kim-Char. Kim-Char's been at our Unity's music conference at Unity Village this past week, so I think she's on her way home today, and I'm sure she'll have wonderful stories to tell. And I'm just grateful to have this hour to spend with you and to feel that beautiful energy that is moving not only through this room, but as we hold it in our hearts and minds, just trust that it is spreading out around the country and the world at the same time. Will you do that today? We've got our assignment, and it's not just for today. So why don't we start with some of this beautiful music that our team has created. If you like to stand when we sing, let's do that now. Otherwise, stay seated. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
There's a place where I love to run and play. There's a place where I sing new songs of praise. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. There's a place where I lose myself within. There's a place where I find myself again. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. There's a place where religion finally dies. There's a place where I lose my selfish pride. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. There's a place where I love to run and play. There's a place where I sing new songs of praise. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Oh, thank you. Woo. It's so great to see everybody. This next song is written by Kim-Char, who hopefully is on her way home from Lee Summit, Missouri. It's about, like when you have a thought or you're ready to make a shift, it usually starts in your head, and then it goes to your heart and out through your hands, head to heart to hands. 1, 2, 3. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Let's sing that again. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. A mighty river is flowing, bringing life to the land. Abundance flows as I fully extend, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Share from the bounty, because I understand. More blessings flow as I simply let it roll, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. From head to heart to hands. From head to heart to hands.
We have all of those, right? We have a head. Anyone? Not missing a head? Anyone? Put your hand on your heart for a moment, and we just allow that divine presence to beat the life through our bodies as this beautiful rhythm and harmony. Grateful to know that it is that active energy of spirit within us that now moves through our hands into the activity of our life. We allow that divine presence to be our wisdom, our love, and all the good that we bring into the world. And so it is. Amen. And will you help us speak our invocation? The words are up here on the screen. Together? There's only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And so it is. Thank you. You may be seated.
In the silence is the answer. In the silence is all I'm after. Be still,
Be still,
be still,
be still,
and know. Be still,
be still,
be still,
be still.
my soul. presence is the answer. In the presence is all I'm after. Be still,
Be still,
be still,
be still,
and know. Be still,
be still,
be still,
be still.
my soul.
I'm not waiting on divine. Divine is always here. I am waiting on my heart and mind to be open, to be clear.
Be still,
Be still,
be still,
be still.
and know. Be still,
Be still,
be still,
be still.
my soul. In the silence is the answer. In the silence is all I'm after. Be still,
Be still,
be still,
be still.
and know. Be still,
Be still,
be still,
be still.
my soul.
And I'm not waiting on divine. Divine is always here. I am waiting on my heart and mind to be open, to be clear.
Be still,
Be still,
be still,
be still.
know. Be still,
Be still,
be still,
be still.
my soul. Be still,
Be still,
be still,
be still.
and know. Be still,
Be still,
be still,
be still.
my soul.
Sometimes I feel like an alien. I think I live a very sheltered life. I tend to lean away from reality TV, but something caught my eye on one of the streaming networks that I thought, oh, let's check this out. And it was about a real estate agency in New York City with over 300 agents. And they were number 6 in the market, and they wanted to be number 1. And so it's about agents selling multi-million-dollar properties. And you think, man, you only have to sell one of those a year and you're good, right? Except that they mentioned 90% of the real estate agents make $40,000 or less a year. That's pretty hard to live on in New York City. But it turned out after about a show and a half that it wasn't going to be about selling real estate. It was going to be about relationships and resistance. And I thought, they need to come to my sermon. I just couldn't believe that people actually live that way, that this is how they talk to one another and this is what they think about one another. And as I watched and I went, tried to listen more deeply to what was going on for them, I started to think, maybe their resistance isn't so much these guys out here, that there was a different form of resistance going on that was even more critical to work with and to heal. And we've been talking about that resistance for the last few weeks. Are you resisting it yet? Are you ready to be done with this topic? Well, you're learning from it, hopefully. Anybody learn how to be non-resistant yet? Anyone? Yes, way to go. Non-resistance. I just want to share that one more time from Imelda Shanklin, that non-resistance commands what? Omnipotence. You were listening. Yay. That's a big one. And a lot of times that's hard to understand unless you just sit and ponder it for a bit. So let me take you to Albert Einstein. Anybody know him? One of the things that he said was, the most important question we can ask is the universe friendly? What's the answer to that? Yes, in my opinion anyway. And why do we think that? Why do we think that the universe is friendly? Because we would say that the universe is God. The universe is the omnipresence expressing itself, and the omnipresence of God is love. So now we know the universe is friendly because the universe is love. And we might be struggling to feel that love in any given moment, but trust that it's there. We've been working on becoming non-resistant to command omnipotence in our circumstances and also in our relationships. So if you're still not in that flow of non-resistance and love, there might be one other form of resistance that we are going to look at today, and that is self-resistance. Does that sound familiar? Self-resistance. I think we could probably mostly relate to that we're resisting ourselves. And it's something that we weren't born to do. I was in a delivery room when my sister had her first child. And I promise you, when that little girl came out, she did not have a gavel in her hand. She was not born to judge herself or anyone else. And yet, because we come in the human body, we have to play the human game. We're still spiritual beings, but we're playing this human game. And one of the things that happens to us is we start to form an ego pretty early on, which is basically our personality. And we do that by watching other people and seeing how they're behaving, and then we try and match it or measure up to it or even be better than. And most of the time, the ego will tell you, whether you think you're doing well or not, it will tell you you're not. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And it will give you an opportunity to experience resistance from others. Anyone been bullied as a child or called names? I mean, think about when you got the report card and it wasn't measuring up to the other kids. Think about getting picked last in gym. Think about the clothes that you were wearing in comparison to others, or how many friends you had in comparison, what your parents were like, how much money they made, what kind of house you lived in, what neighborhood. All of this gives your ego an opportunity to say, you don't measure up. You are not enough. And I'm going to give you 4 kind of mainstream resisting forms of the ego. And the first one up here on the screen is regret. I kind of define regret as what I didn't do that I should have. So this is where we regret. Should have gone to college. Should have put that talent to use earlier in my life. Should have spent more time with my family. Should have started my retirement plan earlier. Should have taken better care of my body. Can you hear that? A lot of our regrets happen like when we're older. That's common. And again, that's just the ego judging us. Another form of resistance is guilt, and I would say that that is what I did do that I shouldn't have done. I shouldn't have insulted that person, hurt them, made them feel bad. I shouldn't have taken the low road. I should have taken the high road. I shouldn't have been blaming others when it was my responsibility. I shouldn't have had that total moral failure that I'll never forgive myself for. Another form of resistance is failure. How many times have we tried to accomplish something and failed at it? I failed at starting that business. I failed at my marriage. I failed at investing for retirement. And the most common, I think, form of resistance is that feeling of weakness, you know, the voice that just says you're not enough. And I would say that the description of that is what I want to do, but I haven't quite gotten around to doing it yet. So that's like taking risks, living our passion, finding that better job, breaking that bad habit, starting an exercise plan, all kinds of things that we should have done, could be doing, but just haven't been able to step into yet, or have chosen not to, one or the other. So we tend to start on the outside, as usual, when we feel these things coming on, that we blame what's going on the outside. And we say things like, you know, if I only had this, then I could do this, and then I would be happy. Does that sound familiar? So if I only had that boat, then I could impress my boss, and then I'd be happy. Or if I only took better care of my body, then I could attract a better relationship, and then I'd be happy. Does that sound familiar? Maybe it's, if I'd only had kids, they could be taking care of me now. Then I'd be happy. So are you hearing it? If I have this, then I can do that, and then I can be happy. And usually that means that it's out there that's the reason for our unhappiness. They won't let me be happy. The weather won't let me. COVID won't let me. You're hearing it, right? So it does sound like it's their fault. But in the quiet of the night, when you're laying in your bed, and that voice is left to just chime in whenever it wants to, it starts pointing the finger back at us, back to the regrets and the guilts and the failures and the weakness. And it's where we come back to, I'm not enough. And now we're resisting ourselves. So we teach regularly here about what happens next, and that's according to the divine law, that what we hold in consciousness, what we believe, we receive, as Jesus said. So while we're in the human body, the thing that activates that divine law is our emotions. It does start with thoughts, and it does include beliefs, but not until they're so strong that we're literally feeling a matching emotion. And when we're in the human body, we have this spectrum up here on the screen. I want to show you a list from Esther Hicks. In her book, Ask and It Is Given, she put this list together, which I refer to often. And I want you to just see that when we're in these emotions on the left, joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation, passion, enthusiasm, the green, that's when you're in your spiritual emotions. But then we move down into the reds and then into the black. So when we get down into insecurity, guilt, unworthiness, fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness, we are full-blown human going on here, full-blown ego going on here. And those lowest forms of emotion have such a slow energy to them that the only thing that the universe can respond to is slow behavior, slow thinking, slow circumstances, and all those accusations that the judge inside of us want to make. The thoughts come in, the feelings happen, and then we begin to live from that energy. We want to live over here in the green section, because this is actually where our spirit lives and who we really are. Get us out of this body, we're going to bounce back to all of those, I promise you. All the time, 24/7. But right now, we have this to contend with. If we live over here in the green, we're living basically in a consciousness of God. And God's consciousness is love. So recognize, as Paul wrote to the Romans up here on the screen, we know that all things work together for good for those who love God. Anybody who loves God means that they're living God, that they are allowing God to express freely through them. And all of us, and this entire universe really, designed to work for good means it was designed out of love. And we just have to learn how to align ourselves with that. Every time we resist ourselves, we're moving over to that lower level of energy, and it's very difficult to find our way to a sense of self-acceptance. So how do we make way for its expression? In the book of 1 John chapter 4, it says, everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. We're all born of God. We're all made in the image and likeness of God. That's the nature of our spirit. But typically, in this human body, the human has the ability to choose for us, or the subconscious is the one that's doing most of it. And we're just keep repeating those patterns of negative resistance. So if we want to choose love, know that what you're doing is you're moving into that higher level of consciousness. You are emulating God. You're an expression of God at that point. When you're choosing love, you are aligned with the universe, and now things are working for our good. And all those shoulda, woulda, couldas go somewhere else. Love, just like we said, non-resistance is omnipotence. Love is omnipotence, and it commands omnipotence. Love commands omnipotence. Say that with me. Love commands omnipotence. So when that voice, that judge within us is calling us a loser, how do we get there? Typically, that ego's working with that flawed premise, which is, by the way, just normal for the ego. It's not like you're having a bad day. The ego has a bad day every day. If you're living from ego, you're probably having a bad day. And the belief of the ego is my worth is determined by my behavior. So if you've got a judge that's saying you're not good enough, you're not doing it right, then it's very difficult for us to experience the spirit in us because we're listening too closely to the wrong voice. So we want to raise our energy back up into those higher emotions that allow our spirit to do the expressing and to feel that nature of God flowing through us and let it take the lead. And so I want to work with my props over here to help us remember this process. So let's start with he doesn't usually use his first name. He just goes by Doc Childer. He wrote a book called Freeze Frame. And he created this technique in order to get us into those higher level emotions, because that's where our good is, that's where we align with God, that's where the universe can work for our good. So it's an important technique that we can use. Now, what's interesting is this was developed by him and the Heart Math Institute. If you want to just look it up, and you'll find all kinds of resources, just go to heartmathinstitute.com, .org, somewhere in there, and they're going to give you some resources to use. One of the ways that they do this is with the freeze frame technique. And this is a technique that we can use anywhere, anytime, even if we're in the midst of an outer judge telling us what they think of us. I've tried it, it works. So what we're going to do first is we're going to freeze frame that voice that we hear in our mind. If you're hearing in some way or fashion that you're not enough, imagine that you're taking a picture of those words, and you're putting them in a frame, not to be saved and admired later, but to get out of the way and sit on a shelf somewhere, okay? So step one is freeze frame that resistant energy. And then secondly, shift your attention down to your heart. You're getting out of your head where all the judgments are being made. You drop your attention. Just imagine what's going on in my heart right now. It's beating. There's a presence of love there. And while I'm focusing down here in my heart, I'm going to pretend like I'm breathing through my heart. Let's just do that right now. Just imagine where your heart is. Breathe through your heart. You just do that. Don't have to think anything. Just breathe through your heart for 10 seconds. Anyone can do that, right? Breathe through your heart for 10 seconds. And then the next thing that you do when you're starting to focus more on what's inside of yourself, you ask your memory to bring up a time where you were in joy, where you were with someone you loved, when you were having an experience where someone was doing something for you that you appreciated, when you were out in nature. So in this case, I got my little bunny here, and all you have to do is hold him, and you begin to feel love. So squishy, so comfy, so warm. And I'm feeling that energy in me. And I'm thinking about, oh, my mom used to hold this rabbit and put it in the cradle of my great-great-grandfather and put with her new grandbabies. That makes me, just that little memory right there is opening up my heart. I'm feeling a whole lot more love and care and appreciation. And while I'm in this loving energy, see how we got there? Loving energy. It might be your vacation, you're on skis, it's a beautiful day, you see the water so blue. Maybe you're having a chat with your pet, they're sitting on your lap and you're petting them and just telling them how much you love them. Somebody did something really nice for you the other day and how good that felt. Get into that energy and let it just warm up your heart. And from this place, the next step is to ask your heart, what's the most effective response to this feeling of resistance? You got that? What's the most effective response to this feeling of resistance? And then, actually, let's leave you here and let's pick up you. Listen. Listen to your heart and see what it says for you. Everybody see that? Y'all see how this works? You got it? How easy was that? So we're just going to go through it really quickly again. You got a form of resistance, a judge going on in your head. Hear those words. Notice how badly you're feeling. Put it in a frame and set it on the shelf. Drop your attention down to your heart space and begin to breathe for 10 seconds, focused on your heart. Bring to mind something that you love or appreciate or brought you joy. Warm up your heart. Just stay in that energy for as long as you can. And when it's good and solid in you, then you ask your heart, what's the most effective response to this situation? And then, I need more hands. You listen to what your heart, wait, you don't need that. Listen to what your heart says. Listen to what your heart says. You know what makes all this possible? Because what's going to come out up into your hearing ability is information that comes from here, and what activates this is this. That memory, that feeling of something that you love or care for, appreciate. Does that make sense? Nod your head if that makes sense. Okay, good. So this is an opportunity for us to learn this technique and apply it on a regular basis. And actually, let me share a story with you from Doc Childer's book called Freeze Frame. He says, depression is an emotional distress call suffered by millions. A woman with chronic depression had been seeing a psychiatrist, taking lithium for over a year, but wasn't improving. Her husband and 2 young children were distraught that they were unable to help. After reading one of our books, The Hidden Power of the Heart, she attended a training and had a private consultation with a heart math trainer. The trainer noticed the woman was constantly voicing how terrible a person she was, invariably putting herself down. There's the judge. She asked the woman to practice freeze framing and appreciating something in her life every time she noticed she was putting herself down. The woman sincerely practiced for 2 days, and during that time, she felt her heart open and could sense happiness again. As she continued to practice, her perceptions began to change, and her mind started to show her new possibilities. It was as if the sun was coming out after a long, dark, cloudy winter. 1 month later, her therapist confirmed the change was real, and she was able to stop taking drugs. Asterisk. Depression may have a biochemical basis. Individuals should consult their physician regarding feelings of depression or concerning medication. We all know the drill, right? But the point was here that her ability to find that memory and that feeling that is in lighter scale, lighter frequency, aligned with God, God expressing in us, is what raises our whole beingness into that spiritual dimension. Remember how Jesus said that the kingdom of heaven is at hand? He even said it's within you. It's as close as you're breathing. That lighter energy, that loving presence, if we will just remember to turn in that direction. Now, here's what's cool about this. Love not only silences the voice of the judge, but love makes that voice of clarity and wisdom louder in us. Those divine qualities start to shine through. Suddenly, you're more creative, you're more compassionate, you're more confident, you're more peaceful, because you've centered yourself in that energy of appreciation and love. And at that point, when that's more clear in you, now you are able to solve those outer problems, as well as quiet the inner voice of the judge. And guess what? When you're just feeling like not enough, and there's nothing going on out here to make it happen, you've just learned how to do it for so long, you've been listening to that voice for so long, you can just use the first 3 steps of this process and still address the issue. So it's not like you're going to have to ask your heart a question about, what should I do next? It's simply just, how can I be in this present? So you just go back and go, I'm feeling that feeling of not enough. I shift my attention down to my heart and breathe for 10 seconds. And then I go to that memory of something that I love and stay here as long as you can. And you will feel it. I'm guessing that if you walked through that with me a few minutes ago, you felt something in you that felt lighter, warmer. And if you can create that energy in you and just wrap it as if you are wrapping it around a child, that's hurting, and just sit in that energy, that is enough to heal whatever's going on in us. The most important part is feeling that self-love. And that judge within us has been with us for a long time. It's got its lines down pat. But it's an actor. It's not the authority of you. Your loving spirit is the authority in you. It's the authentic you. So this is about just recognizing there's a voice in here that may take a while to get it to listen to my higher self. But I'm just going to keep at it. I'm going to keep diverting my attention from here down to here and focusing my attention on fun, not failure, on love, not loser, on joy, not judge. You get to choose to do that. You just have to be awake when it's happening. And then what's even more important is start doing this even if you're not in that energy of not enough. Do it while you're not under fire, because what you're doing is lifting weights. You're teaching yourself to be this way all the time. Practice it regularly throughout the day. Anytime you have a spare moment, set your timer on your phone to go off every couple hours, then every hour, as often as you can, to remind yourself, I'm going to appreciate something now. What do I know that I love and I'm going to appreciate? Man, that trip to Galena was beautiful. I literally was laughing my whole way there, and I see myself, and my windows are open, and the hills are rolling, gorgeous day, and my energy just rises. It's that kind of thing that we want to come to regularly, several times a day, and you start to feel those higher emotions. And don't need a problem to solve. You just practice living in your true self energy, who you truly are. This is your chance to do that. The more often you practice, the less often you will be hearing the voice of the judge. Because now your beingness energy is at a higher level most of the time. You see how this works? Nod your head if you're, yes, okay, good. Just before I went to seminary, I was attending a Unity church in California, and my minister was David MacArthur, and he's the one that introduced me to Heart Math. He actually worked for the Heart Math Institute before he came back into ministry, and he's written a couple books on it, one of which is The Intelligent Heart, and he says up here on the screen, when you are centered in your heart, all the laws of cause and effect are operating to bring you love and wisdom in support of your life. The law of love is transforming. It uplifts your experiences, bringing forth fulfillment and meaning into your life. It uplifts. We want to live in the spiritual dimension while we're in the body. Did you know that you can do that? We can live in the spiritual dimension while we're in the body. Fully conscious, fully present of what's going on around us, but just seeing it through a higher lens, feeling it, responding to life from a higher point of view. I'm going to send this message to all those 350 agents working in New York City right now. To come back into that place so that instead of, if I only had this, then I could do this and then I'd be happy, it's the other way around. Get into the love and appreciation. Be first love and appreciation, which will guide you in what to do so that you then have, as Jesus said, seek first the kingdom, and all these things will be added to you as well. So this is something that we choose to do when we're awake. Make sure that we're living from the right direction. Because the truth is that you actually were made by love. Love is an intelligent force, another name for God. And this loving, intelligent force made you an offshoot of itself. So that means not only were you made by love, you are made of love. That is your natural state of being. And your purpose for being here is you were made for love. All of this is your natural state. It's just that this and the ego gets in the way of that. But you don't have to go anywhere looking for love. It's as close as your breath. It's right here in your heart. And it just requires us looking at it, giving it a chance to do its work. So one more time over here. Let's take a look. This is that thought of not enough that we catch in the middle of thinking of it. Take a picture of it, put it on a frame, set it aside. Give yourself a breather from it. Take a time out from that judge. Shift your attention down to your heart and take a breath for 10 seconds. Just keep breathing from this place. Go for that memory of something or someone that you love or appreciate until you can literally feel those feelings, and just sit in those for a while. And then once you're deep in it, you're going to ask that heart, what's the most effective response to this feeling that I'm having of resistance? And put on your loving ear and listen to what your spirit has to say. Sometimes it'll interrupt you before you've even finished the question and tell you the answer. Either way, if you don't get it immediately, just keep working at it and trust that it will come to you. So guess what we're going to do now? We're going to go to meditation, and we'll just give this a little practice, shall we? And it's not that I want you to think too much about the judge and what it's got to say, but my hunch is within the last 48 hours, you've probably thought a judging self about yourself, right? Judging thought about yourself. And what's probably more common is we have a judging thought that has followed us for years. So if you just want to quickly pop over there and pick up what it is, take a picture of it, put it in a frame, and sit it on a shelf for now. We just tell our ego, it's okay. If you want that thought later, you can come back to it, but we're going to set that aside for now. We take our attention out of our head and drop it down to where our heart is. And begin to breathe as if you're breathing through your heart. And while our attention is in our heart space, we bring to mind a past experience that brought us joy. Or we bring to mind someone that we love or care about in our life. Or we think about a beautiful place that we've been in the world that makes our heart sing. And just feel that appreciation again for who they are, for what that is. Allowing that feeling of appreciation to warm your heart, to lift you up. And if that warm feeling starts to fade, then come back again to that person or that situation that brought you joy till you can feel it again. And from this warm place of appreciation, we ask our heart, what is the truth about that resistant thought? What is the truth about me? And now we listen. In this moment, in the presence and of the presence of love, we allow ourselves to feel its goodness, its power to harmonize and to bring good. Giving thanks that we are never far from it. God's good is always working in my life as I allow divine love to work in my heart. Take a moment to breathe in gratitude that this presence is always present in us and through us. We were made by love. Hold that thought. I am made by love. I am made of love. I am made for love. And as I love, all things work together for good. This is the truth of my being. Now I let it be. So it is. Amen. So that's what your practice schedule looks like this week. And it's easy, you don't have to lift weights. If anything, you're practicing with things that are weightless, practicing with love. Thank you for taking those steps with me. As we live from love, we live from non-resistance, which means we live from God. Non-resistance will command omnipotence. So here we are at a time in our service where we share love in a different way. We share it with our tithes and our love offerings. And even though these financial gifts that we give to our spiritual community are material, what is behind it is love. Not only do we give with love, if you can't give from love today, I would say put it on hold for a while, but typically we give from love. And what we give that looks like a dollar bill, looks like a $1,000 check, whatever form it takes for you, it's energy. And the energy is the substance of love. So this is our chance to mold it and fashion it. If you're watching online, we love your love just as much as everyone else's love. And as you give today, I'm going to invite you to consider what your heart is calling you to give. If you want to give online, you can go to our website, unityinnaperville.org, and there's a donate button there. But if you want to write a check, and you can actually visually see it and touch it and write, "Thank you, God," in the memo field, that can be mailed to our P.O. Box 9733 in Naperville, 60567. And I'm going to actually invite the ushers to come forward now, and then we'll bless it at the end of the offering. So ushers, come and let's sing. Whoops.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So, if one of our ushers would like to come forward, thank you, Diane. Why don't you turn around and face everyone? We'll just do this together. The blessing is up here on the screen. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Deb, it's on.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Deb DeSandro, and my heart is happy to share announcements with you today.
If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. We are so glad you are here. If you are in person here, we'd like you to fill out this yellow-orange registration card that you can find in the front room right by the front door. And then we can keep you posted about all of our upcoming events. For the virtual newcomers, you can sign up for the weekly e-news at unityinnaperville.org. So, let's go to lunch today after service at On the Border. It's at 1915 Glacier Park Avenue along Route 59 in Naperville. A reminder to all our prayer chaplains, your next training session with Reverend Kity is today. In the meditation room, please bring your calendar. Monday morning metaphysics meets tomorrow online at 10:30 a.m. They are reading The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker, and newcomers are always welcome. The Grief Support Group meets tomorrow at 7 p.m. Access the Zoom link through event calendar. And if you were born in July, we'd like to celebrate with you. Email a photo along with your name and birthday to admin@unityinnaperville.org by Thursday, and we'll sing to you next Sunday. Join us on Friday at 7 p.m. on the front lawn for axe throwing. Please bring snacks to share and $2 cash to fund the prize pot. And don't worry, we'll all be safe. We're going to be safe, Reverend Kity. Join Unity Friends at the Kane County Cougars game on Sunday, July 21st at 1 p.m. Tickets are $20 with a $15 concession stand credit. Stadium parking is $10, and you can purchase tickets at the info table or online at unityinnaperville.org. Now, you may have noticed that after service, we love to have a little bit of something with our coffee. And we would love if you could help provide refreshments after the service next Sunday. If so, there is a sign-up sheet in the front room. Our prayer chaplain today is Carol. Thank you, Carol. You can pray with Carol in the prayer room after the service, or email your name and phone to prayer@unityinnaperville.org, and the chaplain will call you today by 1 p.m. For details on all of our events, you can go to our calendar at unityinnaperville.org. And now Kity has a special announcement.
Next slide, please. So, the time is almost here. If you were at our annual meeting, you heard me mention the word sabbatical, which is when Kity steps away from regular ministry and Sunday messages. And my last Sunday will be next Sunday, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But look at all the fun we have in store for you while I'm gone. Each one of these folks will be doing a Sunday message. Michael and Mary Beth Spear will be here to do messages. And you cannot miss just finding your joy and opening your heart if you are attending these services, I promise you. Some of them are even going to have concerts or workshops after the service, so keep your eye on the e-news. Susan, where are you? Are they selling any tickets yet at the info table for any of these? Not yet? Okay. All right. Well, Daniel Nabid will be up first on the 14th. He will be having a very special workshop after the service, so for sure those tickets should be available online soon, if not already, and then we'll make sure and have them available for sale next Sunday as well. So keep an eye on your e-news and our event calendar to figure out what's going on next. And in my first Sunday back in the service will be September 1st. I'll be here prior to that during the week, getting ready for that service. And then let me just show you what's coming up next Sunday. It's a very special message called Freedom for All, and I'm inviting some of you to join me in sharing some thoughts about how we can live in this country and experience freedom, even though we might be part of a community that doesn't typically experience freedom. based on unconscious bias or all kinds of points of view that tend to hold us back. So I know how much you love each other and you want to hear from each other. So I will be here and I'll be talking with them. I really hope that you can join me for that next Sunday. It's going to be very special. Okay, do we have one last song to sing? Let's stand as you're able. Thank you.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything. Everything is my source. I need.
You go, Kevin.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Enoch. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, that feels good. We have a closing affirmation to share. Up here, oh, I'm in the way no matter where I stand here. Okay, here we go. Together, my power of love transforms me now. Anytime you can go to that consciousness of love, we are transformed now. Would you take a moment to just bring that power of love to the people in this room around you? Say hey to somebody that you know or don't know. Exchange names. Share your thoughts about what you heard today. And join us out here for some yummy good things. Have a great week, everyone. Blessings.
There's a place where I love to run and play. There's a place where I sing new songs of praise. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Oh yeah. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. There's a place where I lose myself within. Woo! There's a place where I find myself again. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Of grace. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. There's a place where religion finally dies. There's a place where I lose my selfish pride. Dancing with the Holy One in fields of grace. Oh yeah, I'm dancing with the Holy One in fields place where I love to run and play. Oh yeah. There's a place where I sing new songs of praise. Dancing